Hello there. What's going on, everyone? Today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 Legion Clone Wars units. If you are not familiar, they announced the Clone Wars was coming to Star Wars Legion back at Gen Con 2018, and we are on the verge of some major announcements this year. A lot of people expect the Clone Wars is about to be announced finally for Star Wars Legion now that it has already come out for X-Wing. And by the way, it's awesome for X-Wing. They've done a really good job so far, which just makes me that much more excited for some Clone Wars news for Star Wars Legion. So, in celebratory and anticipation of that announcement, hopefully, which will be coming very, very soon, possibly even this week, I figured I would go ahead and do a top 10 list of my personal most looking forward to units for Star Wars Legion. Before I jump into the list, I do want to remind you guys there is still time to enter to win the giveaway. You can win an expansion of your choice in the form of a $25 Amazon gift card. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment. It's as simple as that. Let me know what your favorite stuff is that did not make my list, because I'm going to be completely honest with you, I'm totally biased. This is just my favorite stuff. And I know there's a lot of real favorites that were going to be on your lists that did not make my list. And I mean, there's definitely some really good ones that were worthy. But this is just stuff that I'm personally looking forward to. So let's go ahead and dive into it. We'll see. So call it out right now. I bet you some of your absolute favorites. I bet you a lot of your top 3 won't even be on my list, because I am very biased to a very particular type of thing. And I'll explain at the end some of the things that didn't make it and why they didn't make it. So the first thing, so we're going to start with number 10. And that's going to be generic Jedi. Generic Jedi. And the reason I put generic Jedi on here is I'm hoping they could potentially come in the form of core. Only because I would love to be able to field an all Jedi list. And so, you can obviously expect that there's going to be Jedi in the Clone Wars, right? And so that's kind of cool. And the thing is, we've seen this with X-Wing. We've seen generic Jedi pilots, so it's at least possible in X-Wing to field a full Jedi list. I don't know if that's really feasible for a game like Star Wars Legion, where you have to have core units. I would imagine Jedi, you could probably field a couple of Jedi, but maybe not all Jedi. So I'm hoping we'll get Jedi as core, because that's required. But realistically, I think Jedi might be something like Special Forces, or maybe even support, depending on if they have different tiers. Like a Jedi healer might be support, whereas Jedi attackers might be Special Forces. I would love to see Jedi core, maybe Padawans or Initiate Jedis or something like that. Just be like a melee-only core unit. Of course, I want to see Gungans as well, but this top 10 list is actually a lot more Jedi focused, so as you will see. So next up, number 9, General Krell. I think he'd be great for Separatists. He was like this great Jedi, and he switched, and it was this big thing. And I just think he would be a great sculpt to have, and I think he would look awesome. So the 2 double-bladed lightsabers, I think you could end up with like a really cool sculpt here, even though that this guy isn't really like that recognizable. For fans of the Clone Wars, obviously he is, but people who weren't fans of the Clone Wars series might not even know who he is, so that's why he's a little lower on this list. But if they did make him, I think he would be awesome. He could be a very powerful character too. Like in a game like Legion, he could be one of the most powerful characters ever. So General Krell could be he might even be a little bit too strong, but you do just make him cost like 300 points and then balance it out. I don't know. Number 8, Kit Fisto. You're starting to see a theme with this list, right? Are you starting to see a theme? Okay. Yes, Kit Fisto, one of the coolest looking aliens ever to grace the screen. Absolutely love Kit Fisto and his smiling face. I think he would be a very fun Jedi to have in Legion, and I think he would look really cool on the field. I would love that. The more, and this I also kind of goes to the generic Jedi thing too. If they do generic Jedi, I'd like to see more alien Jedi, and his would be a great alien Jedi to have. So again, more alien Jedi would be good. More aliens in general would look really cool. And Kit Fisto just happens to be a very particular one, also a very strong one. So that's also very cool. So Kit Fisto at number 8. Number 7, Asajj Ventress. All right, if you haven't guessed the theme by now, maybe you're not going to get it. But yeah, Asajj Ventress, I'm kind of going back and forth, alternating this list with kind of like good guy, bad guy, good guy, bad guy kind of thing, or good gal, bad gal, whatever. But yes, Asajj, very, very cool character. I began to like her a lot more after the Dark Disciple book. And so I think you could see her in maybe 2 different capacities. I would love to see like a commander that's like separatist, and then maybe an operative that has teamwork with Quinlan Voss, something like that. I'd love to see like something like that, and maybe she could go on either side, as an operative. She's in such a gray area later on in the series. You could do a lot with her, and it could be very, very cool. Early on, though, and again, they could probably do 2 versions. Or maybe just one pack that has, both ways, and maybe alternate head sculpt if you wanted to give her the little bit of hair, because she eventually grows her hair out. Very cool. I'm also hoping they do Dark Disciple in the Clone Wars when that comes back out. Although, granted, I don't know if the show could ever do the book justice, because the book was just so incredible. One of my favorite books. So Dark Disciple is really cool. And, and if she's a commander, she could get maybe teamwork with Dooku or something like that. You never know. Or maybe she just doesn't, maybe teamwork just isn't a good idea for her at all. Although I do like it with Quinlan Voss. I think that would be pretty cool. Number 6, Anakin Skywalker. I mean, this one is obvious. Or, of course, you have to have Anakin. For some reason, as cool, as great as he was, I'm not as thrilled about Anakin. So I put him kind of in the middle of the list. You got to have him. Naturally, he could do some really cool stuff, and that he could potentially also use Darkseid. Granted, it depends on how they want to do him. If they want to do like late, like Return to the, Episode 3 Anakin, then maybe he uses Darkseid. If they want to do like younger Anakin, like Episode 2 Anakin, maybe he doesn't. There's different ways that they could do Anakin. So that's kind of cool. They could even do like when he had both sabers, like when he's fighting Dooku, they could give him like 2 sabers. I think he'll just have the 1 saber though, but. Yeah, you could do Anakin, or you could do Clone Wars Anakin with the armor. You could do a lot of different types of Anakin. Number 5, Count Dooku. Obviously, I think Dooku is the ideal commander for Separatists. He is, Christopher Lee was awesome. Dooku is supposed to be a really good duelist, and I think he, with the lightsaber, he could get some really cool poses, and that he was like a fencer. You could even have him like holding the lightsaber up. You could have him have it out like so. Like all kinds of very attractive poses that he's got. I think he would make for an excellent miniature. Hopefully now you've guessed the theme for this list. Next up, my man, number 4 rather, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Really just an excuse for me to continue to say things like hello there and I have the high ground in the middle of the game, because like totally you would want to play him always on the high ground. Obi-Wan Kenobi is just a must-have. Absolutely have to have him. Very excited to see this. And there's a lot of different ways they could go with Obi-Wan too. You could do his Clone Wars armor. You could do Episode 3 Obi-Wan. I would hope they don't do Episode 2 Obi-Wan with the mullet. I really don't like to talk about mullet Obi-Wan. Not a big fan of mullet Obi-Wan. But yes, Obi-Wan, very, very cool character. Would love to have Obi-Wan. Number 3, the first that's not a Jedi, or at least not an actual Force user. General Grievous. But definitely keeping with the theme of lightsabers in everybody's hand. That's kind of been the theme for this list. Is General Grievous. I mean, what an amazing looking presence this would have on your battlefield. I think he would look so very, very cool. He is one of the coolest characters in the entire prequel trilogy. Coolest looking characters in the entire prequel trilogy. And having all these lightsabers, it'd be fun to paint. I like the idea of having lots of different lightsabers. We don't have a lot of lightsabers in Legion right now. So getting more lightsabers onto the battlefield is something I'm really, really currently very excited about. That has put all my other hopes and dreams aside. I'm just really excited about getting lightsabers on the battlefield. So Grievous is an amazing opportunity to do that. Even though he doesn't have the Force, he has lightsabers and is going to be super, super cool. Now, granted, he only uses lightsabers, towards the end of Episode 3. So you do see him, like, not using lightsabers at all. He has those Magna Guards, too. He could have, like, an entourage of Magna Guards. He could do, he might behave similar to Palpatine. But then again, Palpatine wasn't really a lightsaber guy, so he might be something all new. So, General Grievous. Number 2. Mace Windu. So awesome, this dude. And again, another cool thing about Mace Windu is he had his own style of lightsaber fighting, especially like those broad strokes, like holding it out like sideways, like come at me, bro. So I would love to see a pose like that. Of course, also the amethyst blade would be the only one on your battlefield. So very, very cool character. One of my favorite characters in the entire Star Wars saga. Of course, we're still wondering, because I'm sure he had to have survived that fall, right? He had to have survived that fall. So we're still kind of hoping to see some more Mace Windu stuff, because Sam Jackson definitely wants to do it. But love Mace Windu. Would absolutely love to get a purple lightsaber on the battlefield. And I would expect Mace Windu to be extremely strong, because he's strong in every game that he shows up in. So he's one of my favorite characters. Gotta have Mace Windu. Number one. Have you guessed number one yet? We'll talk about some runner-ups after this. Number one, Darth Maul. And I went with this, the Hot Toys actual toy version for the photograph, because Darth Maul is just so awesome. And you can do Maul. You don't have to do Darth Maul. I think there's a lot of ways you can do Maul, but any way you do him, his pose should be epic. I mean, dude is like the master. Like, he's like the best character to do a really cool pose in. And so this kind of culminates in my list here. Is like, I'm looking for characters, like, at least right now. This is why I say this list is my own personal bias, because I left out a lot of really cool characters, and I recognize that. But Darth Maul is going to be able to get you some amazing poses. He's going to be so much fun. He's going to be so deadly and quick, and I think he's just like going to be like that perfect. At least as Darth Maul Episode 1, I see him as being an operative. Moving in really quick, good speed, jump, the ability to attack twice, really, really deadly melee attack. Moderately good defense also. So I just see Darth Maul as being an incredibly good operative, assassin type character. But you could also have Maul as a commander if you do like the Mandalorian saga with Maul with the Darksaber. I could see him being a commander role that way, and even give him his brother also possibly. There's things that you can do from the Clone Wars animated series as well. So there's different versions of Maul. I wouldn't even mind seeing like the spider-legged version as a sculpt for the miniature, even though that was only for like an episode. But that would be maybe, I think, or was it a two-parter? So like that would be a really cool alternate sculpt also. But nothing beats the original Darth Maul. So any version of Maul is going to be great, but Darth Maul is my favorite. And so I would absolutely love to see that. Now, honorable mentions, you're probably thinking, dude, you left out some of my favorite characters. Where's Rex? Where's Cody? I mean, yeah, like those are great characters too. I've said before that I really, really want a Gungan army too. I would love to see that. But that's just didn't fit the theme for this list. I wanted this list to be, I was just in the mood for lightsabers, and I just decided to say, like, what's going to look really cool? Because we don't have lightsabers right now. As much as I do want a Gungan army, I also think that's kind of unrealistic, at least to get anytime soon. So eventually that would be great. And I also left out a really good Force user, Ahsoka. I did not have Ahsoka on this list, and there's a reason for that. Is it really? And I don't have Yoda either. Yoda's cool, but I don't know. I just didn't feel it. I just didn't feel like Yoda might have been like number 12 or 11. Was still kind of up there, but I just had other things I wanted to see more so. I don't know. It's just the way I'm feeling today. Again, my own personal bias. But why not for Ahsoka? Well, in Clone Wars, Ahsoka was a kid, and like there's a little part of me that's like, I don't want to put a child on the battlefield, even though she was definitely capable. But I'm more of a fan of like the adult Ahsoka, because she seemed like so. In Star Wars Rebels, Ahsoka was so much more powerful and respectable and like had that wow factor way more as a grown up. So I really like the Star Wars Rebels Ahsoka more so than the Clone Wars Ahsoka, but that's just me. And so I would much rather see that one first. So that would put her as a rebellion. The Fulcrum Ahsoka is the one that I want. More so than, so that's why she didn't make my Clone Wars list, because I want the Rebels Ahsoka. But and she's actually pretty high up on my list of things I would like to see for the Rebels, along with the rest of the Ghost crew. But I really like Rebels. Well, that's my list, guys. That's all I've got for you today. I want to thank you all for watching. Let me know what would have made your list that didn't make my list. Again, I put a theme on here, and but I didn't tell you at the beginning, so it was kind of a like see if you can guess. We're having some fun with it. Hopefully, we get a Clone Wars announcement very, very, very soon. Super excited for this because X-Wing did it great, and also hoping to see Clone Wars also announced for Armada because they haven't even said that they're going to do that yet. So we gotta see. All right, stay tuned. Adepticon, more news is coming. All of this stuff is coming this week, so we're going to be bringing it to you. Stay tuned. I want to thank you all so much for watching. And as always, have a great day.